What's going on, YouTube? Chris Pearson here, your very country guy from Logan Sport. I know I have really not been very active on the channel in days, and there is a big reason for that. Not that there's not been a lot of news going on regarding fantasy football things, with training camps now starting, and a lot of things going on that I want to talk about on here as well. But guys, and I know that you probably don't want to hear a thing about my life really was that interesting to y'all. If it is, then cool. But I have had really one of the most stressful, frustrating, tension-filled weeks, probably in a long time. Normally with my work is pretty stressful, but this week probably was one of the most stressful non-work weeks that I've really had to deal with. And I really needed faith and prayer and strength in a lot of places just to get through this week. So here's kind of the reason why. To be blunt and to put it simply, I had not had internet access, at least not in my home, for 9 days. And some of you probably just jumped back to your computer screens and went, "Whoa, really?" Yeah, it was very difficult for me because I do a lot of technology now is a big part of my life, and this week here's really what the situation was. Next door, this where I'm living is a duplex. It's one side next door, and then I have this side next door right here, where I've lived in now for a couple months. I've already put in a loan to own the property, so we're hoping for that to go through. Eventually, I'm going to start paying for everything over here, for utility-wise, for the TV service, internet service, everything. So these are big changes that are happening in my life, and the whole situation and the transferring of stuff and the setup of stuff was just an absolute mess, because everything, at least from the TV perspective, the internet perspective, was under my mom's name. So they weren't supposed to transfer her service to her new residence until last Friday. As I'm doing this video, it is Tuesday the 30th. So last Friday, they're supposed to actually transfer. Well, for some bizarre reason, which we still don't know, they did it 3 days early, and we had no TV service, no internet service here for both of us for that Tuesday of last week, 23rd, and the 24th, Wednesday. My mom was on the phone with Comcast for many hours, numerous times, trying to figure out what was going on, if it could get resolved, yada, yada, yada. Really, what I did during this time that I was down, all I could really do was play the games that I could access on my computer and listen to music. That's really all I could do. I really didn't have much else to do during this time. It was definitely a very slow waiting period. Now, Thursday of last week, we briefly got it back up because Comcast was I was in the process of fixing everything. But I had already had appointments set up on the recurring day Friday for my Dish Network to get set up with my TV service, and the internet service was supposed to be on Friday. So Friday was a big day for me. That's why, I don't know if you guys follow me on Facebook or not, but that's when my Facebook status posted that tomorrow I'll begin a new era with Dish. Well, Dish Network, and I don't know about your guys' past experience with Dish Network, but for me, they did an absolutely flawless job. The guy, their repair guy, the tech guy that came in was outstanding. He did an awesome job. He had to work with what he had. They couldn't get the dish on the roof of this house. It's kind of an odd-shaped house, so they couldn't really find a spot for their satellite to put up where the signals can be picked up. So we had to install 2 of them in my backyard, literally. So that's that situation. So but he had worked what he had. He did an excellent job. It was up and running right away, and I was so happy to have that work. After the mess with Comcast and their situation, I was just done with them. I think my mom and I both were done with Comcast because they just really screwed up. Um, but then came with the internet. Obviously, with hers now being transferred, I had nothing on this side, and we had ordered it from Frontier, and they and it said your appointment is scheduled on Friday between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Well, lo and behold, unfortunately, we had overlooked the fact that for some reason a self-install had been added to the order. We don't know if that was intentional or done by Frontier. The techs don't do it themselves. We didn't know. So we were really thrown for a loop there, and then we had to wait for days and days and days and days for the self-install kit to come. You know, Friday went into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then today being Tuesday. So I'd spent more days without internet service. So it was just a roller coaster. I've had to use my phone for my internet. I've had to use Wi-Fi in restaurants. I've had to, you know, just to be able to access my email, my, you know, whatever I need to do, and I pay my bills online too, because that's everything now. It's all I do. So, and of course, I use that online to talk to you guys, to do the Fantasy Football Stock Report. The Fantasy Football Stock Report would not be in existence without if I didn't have internet access. So, it was important. Let's just say that. So, finally, I got a call yesterday from Frontier that they would be shipping out my kit through UPS. So I was excited. I knew possibly that today would be the day it would come. It came about 5 o'clock this evening is when the modem actually came. So I quickly got unpacked. I got everything going, and then I had to make more phone calls because one thing after another was happening. There was a problem with one of the wiring process, problem with the setup process. I think Frontier is honestly sick and tired of hearing my voice, to be quite honest with you. But I have to say, though, even in all the troubles and the mess I was experiencing, their customer service people are outstanding. They are wonderful. They guide you through their steps. They guide you through what the problem might be. They do a great job. So I finally got it up and running. So to be quite honest, guys, I'm just glad that the nightmare for me is over. It was just a harrowing process that I never hoped to experience again. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, definitely crazy regarding that week. So, but that's resolved now. That's all that matters. Is I got it working again, and I'm now glad to get the opportunity again to share with you guys again my thoughts on the upcoming season, thoughts on different things. Like I said, with this channel's been before, obviously the stock report, different things going on in the world of sports, possibly video games. So I want to share some of those thoughts with you guys in this video right now. I just had to give that though as an intro because I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, well, gee, he hasn't been on the channel in a while. What's the reason for that? And that was the reason for it, is because that I just have had to use other outlets to access the internet while I've been literally pretty much in the Stone Age here at home. So that's what's happened. So back in action. That's really now what the point now is going forward. Back in action, back at it. I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys on a couple things. Obviously, training camps now have started. We know that. And you guys want to be monitoring your guys' players all throughout training camps for depth chart situations. Obviously, the big thing right now is injuries, and there have been a few big names that have already gone down early in camp. If you guys haven't heard, the two big names pretty much struck on the same day a couple days ago. Jeremy Maclin in Philadelphia. If you guys have not heard, he's pretty much going to be done for the year. In fact, he is done for the year. Torn ACL, pretty much knew right away when I first heard the reports. It did not look very good. It didn't look very promising. So that's a big loss. Obviously, with Philadelphia's offense, it's going to be obviously with Chip Kelly now coaching there. It's going to be very high octane. They want to find guys that are going to make impact right away. You've got McCoy in the backfield still. You've got still the quarterback competition going on between Michael Vick and Nick Foles. I think Vick's going to win the job, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. But now they got to find someone to step up who's going to be now that opposite receiver, opposite Deshaun Jackson in Philadelphia now that Maclin's out for the year. So now I read a report today that Riley Cooper is supposed to be the guy that's probably going to benefit the most. We've got other guys in the mix as well, like Arrellious Benn, like some other guys that could potentially be in the mix for that spot. Just kind of keep an eye on it. Obviously, if you had Jeremy Maclin on your roster, you can definitely cut him loose. At this point, he's droppable. I'm sure at this point they made him already droppable, so you can feel free to do that. I know that, and here's the thing with like one of my guys in my league. It sucks when you have one player go down on the roster. It sucks when you have two on the same day. That happened to one of my owners in my league. He lost Maclin and Dennis Pitta of the Ravens, their tight end, who has really blossomed into a big-time star. He went down also, dislocated hip. And my best friend, who has called into one of my videos in the past, you saw it with the preview, when I told him of that injury, he immediately went, ooh, because he knows what hip injuries are like. He actually had an incident where he was riding his bike and he got hit by a car, and he knows exactly what that feeling is like. He did have a slight injury to his hip, so he knows any hip injury is like, and it's not pretty. And obviously, it couldn't have been pity. So I was trying to say Pitta and pretty, and it came out pity for Dennis Pitta. So yeah, obviously a big loss there in Baltimore as well. Joe Flacco loses one of his big-time weapons. I have Flacco as my backup, so obviously that's going to be a big hit. Now, with the Ravens offense, you wonder at this point, is really anyone worth owning outside of Flacco, Ray Rice, Bernard Pierce potentially? Because now the only big-time receiver there is Torrey Smith. Now, it might be a benefit to Jacoby Jones, and I've got Jacoby Jones kind of on my radar in my scout team right now. I'm kind of just going to be taking a wait-and-see approach to see if he's going to get more targets, possibly in training camp, maybe in preseason. It's kind of a wait-and-see, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, Ed Dickson now becomes the #1 tight end option in Baltimore. I think he's a guy that if he's still out there on waivers, if you need a second tight end or for potential backup, I think Ed Dickson's a guy you can plug in on your bench and definitely have a solid #2 tight end. If you're not confident in your #1 guy, if you missed out on one of the elite guys, and you need a solid #2, I think Ed Dickson definitely has got to come right in and be a good a weapon for you. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on those guys. I've been watching now NFL Network, watching with the Inside the Training Camp Live. That's a great show, by the way. They do insight on all 32 training camps. It's awesome. So I would definitely say if you're a big fantasy follower and player like myself, definitely watch that. I think it helps to see where all the teams are at when it comes to training camps. So, but I had to share my thoughts on those two guys. I also wanted to share my thoughts with you guys on the whole Johnny Manziel situation. I know this is kind of a stray from NFL, but we're finding out more and more things about his off the field stuff, and now there was a report today on a story done by, I think it was in ESPN. I think it was ESPN the magazine that basically said that Johnny Manziel's parents are now really worried about their son with his drinking issues, that he's probably just doing it to relieve his stress, all this pressure on him, and all this stuff. And there was the whole situation where he got kicked out of that frat party in Austin. I mean, it's not looking really pretty for him right now. I personally am really worried about, obviously, let me just say this. Winning the Heisman, yes, it's a great accomplishment. But when you win as a freshman, when all that hype is thrown on you, and then people are just saying the expectation continues thrown on you, but yet you're making more noise in your off-the-field stuff than you're on the field, it becomes a really big issue. And I don't want all this stuff to affect him. He said at Media Day that I'm going to keep living my life and be a 20-year-old and live the way I want to live. Well, can you really? I mean, can you really still do all this stuff and portray yourself in this negative light and with all these expectations thrown on you? To me, it's really, you've as a college football player, you have to be able to separate on field from off field. And really, though, that's with the media these days, that's not an easy thing to do. The media is going to try really hard to lump the two together. Now, there's some media that's saying, well, if Johnny Manziel goes out there on the field at the start of the season and is outstanding, everyone will forget about all of this. But again, can you really? I mean, can you really forget all that has happened? I mean, can you really overlook that thing that happened in Austin? Can you overlook what his parents have said about this drinking situation? Can you, his dad, for gosh sakes, his dad said he's one night away from ending up in jail. And you know what? If he ends up in the wrong situation, that very well might be true. So I tell you what, if I were his dad, not that I've had that experience before, I've been a single guy, not that I can't speak from experience here, but if I were his dad, I would honestly sit him down and say, look, you're a Heisman Trophy winner, you're the quarterback for one of the premier football teams in the country, in the premier conference in the country. Now you're playing in the SEC. You are honestly held to a higher standard. You are held to a higher standard. Yes, you don't get paid. Yes, there's talks of NCAA players potentially getting paid. Yes, there's lawsuits out the wazoo. But that doesn't mean that you off the field you act like this arrogant, high class, I am holier than thou kind of person. You can't do that, because then people will start throwing. You know what all that's going to do? All that's going to do then is just make you more stressful, because the media is going to paint you in this negative light. It's not going to motivate you. If it does, I can't see how, but all it's going to do is just make you more stressful, because the media is going to say, oh, look at him. He thinks he's better than everybody. He's going out drinking and partying. He's doing all this. He's not worried about football one iota. He's not thinking about it. He's not thinking about Texas A&M. He's not thinking about everybody there. He's just worried about all this fun time stuff, living the college life stuff, whatever. You cannot do that. You've got to still understand where you are at. Yes, you realize you're in college. Yes, you realize you're a 20-year-old person. Good for you. Yes, you know where you're at in that respect. But you are not aware of where you are at right now in your position on the field. You are the quarterback. You are a Heisman-winning quarterback, by the way, in an elite club of people for Texas A&M University in the Southeastern Conference, the premier conference in college football. You have to know where you are at. Not just in the off-the-field stuff. Not just, I know there's this side and there's this side, but there's symbiosis there. Woo. They don't repel each other. They interact with each other. They are cognizant of each other. They interact with each other. They are aware of what's going on. And you, Johnny Manziel, I refuse to call him by his nickname, because, again, that'll only fuel that ego and pride. You need to be aware of where you are. If, for gosh sakes, if your own parents have to come out into the media and say, we are fearing for our son's life, for our son's safety, because of what he's doing, that should be an immediate slap in the face to you. That should be an immediate reaction saying, oh crap, edited, I got to get myself straight. I got to get my head on straight. I got to get my screws tight. I can no longer come across as this arrogant person and get things in order. I mean, really, that's what I hope happens. Is it going to happen? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens as a result of his parents coming out, because they just said that. I think that story just came out today. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, obviously, I can't address Texas A&M without addressing what happened also with the car accident. If you guys were not aware, 3 football players were killed in a car accident. One was a Texas A&M player. I think one was either 1 or 2 were Utah players. I'm not sure on all the details of that, but they were killed in a car accident. And Johnny Manziel actually did tweet out that his thoughts and prayers are with the player's family and the team today, how much it hurt him. So that was a nice thing to do. That was a nice way of showing, okay, you know, but, you know, as much as it sucks that it happened and that, you know, that it did happen and my thoughts and prayers are definitely with the families. Sometimes tragedy does bring people, teams, circumstances together, and who knows, maybe this circumstance will, you know, again, help Johnny look in the mirror and say, okay, you know, now that I'm coming across as more as now that I've sent this tweet out and people see my tweet and people understand that, you know, I'm feeling for the team right now. I'm looking out for the team right now. Maybe again they'll see that, yeah, I am taking the team into account. I am taking my role seriously. So that's really what I'm hoping for from an outsider's perspective. That is what I am hoping for Johnny Manziel. I honestly wish him the best. I honestly hope that he has another great year. Will he win the Heisman again? That remains to be seen. There's a lot of competition this year. There's always a competition in the Heisman race, so you never know what can happen. Excuse me. But again, I just felt like I had to address what was going on with that situation as well, because I feel, you know, it's important, and I feel that I want him to succeed. I want him to be successful, but at the same time, Johnny, I want, you know, if there is a problem, if there is, you know, if you have a problem with drinking, please address it. I mean, please don't be afraid. Don't let people continue to paint you in this negative light. Don't let it get to you. You know, you don't continue to, you know, put yourself in bad situations, but at the same time, don't let people, you know, drive you down. Use it as motivation. Use it to motivate you, and honestly use it to motivate you to do the right things, to know where you are at both on the field and off. Realize the balance between the two. So, so yeah, that's my thought on that. And I think that's pretty much it for now, guys. I just wanted to get out there why I wasn't on the channel very often because of my internet situation. Wanted to share my thoughts on the injured players and the Johnny Manziel situation. So, again, just stay tuned to the channel. If I'm posting videos in the future, I'll probably give you guys a heads up on what I'm posting. Again, it could be sports related, video game related. Obviously, in the fantasy football, I'll post it. So just let me guys know. Again, I'll definitely take comments or questions you guys have on fantasy players. If you guys have any, please let me know on the channel. Thank you guys again for continued support, and God bless. Thanks.